Hey, long time no see, everybody. Welcome to the Season 10 preview. I just want to kind of cover some stuff for like how we're going to do the games and everything, break down some of the main differences between doubles and singles that people should probably be aware of before we play, and just do a little preview and some of my thoughts on everybody's teams. So yeah, thanks for joining for season 10. We've been doing this now for 4.5 years, which is pretty insane to think about. So welcome, and let's get into this. So first of all, we're playing doubles, and a couple things I just wanted to cover on that are that protect and detect, or just protecting moves in general, are arguably the most important moves in the entire game. Basically, that traditional switch in my water type on their fire type sort of deal in singles can apply in doubles, but essentially you can get doubled into yourself and it doesn't actually matter, right? So basically, protect is going to be able to help you reposition a lot better. Obviously, scouting information is really important, just like in singles. But yeah, buying that extra turn where you have a threat on the field and it's pretty likely that your opponent's going to try to get rid of it, it can allow your partner to get a freer hit off while not losing a piece. Yeah, I just really want to emphasize how important protect and detect is. Obviously, you probably shouldn't run it on like a choice scarf mon, but since choice band, choice specs, and assault vest aren't in the game yet, most Pokemon can afford to run protect. There's a few examples here and there of some Pokemon that don't really care to do it. Specifically, Pokemon that like can't flinch from fake outs, so like Inner Focus, Dragonite, for example. But yeah, for the most part, protect's really important. I really want to emphasize that with everybody. Secondly, redirection moves. So once again, very useless in singles, clicking follow me or rage powder, but same deal in doubles. You can buy a turn for your partner to set up or draw a super effective move away from them. Extremely strong having a follow me or rage powder user. Should be noted with rage powder that grass type Pokemon will ignore it. So you can't rage powder a sleep powder coming in from a grass type Pokemon, but you could rage powder a sleep powder in from a bug type Pokemon, for example. So very, very important to have like redirection on your team if you don't already, or more importantly, be aware of your opponent having it, because you might see a free kill and then it gets redirected into something that takes not very effective damage from it, and their partner is still sitting there being annoying. More niche, a couple Pokemon learn the move Ally Switch, which is kind of the same concept. Basically, it swaps the positions of the Pokemon on that side of the field, effectively redirecting moves if your opponent's not predicting that. It's less reliable, obviously, but it definitely powerful still. Let's see. I already brought up the items about like there's going to be some limitations, but definitely hop into Showdown and see what's available. Typically, what is like considered the best right now, like that you can put onto a Pokemon, would be like the Mega Stone for your Mega Pokemon, obviously. So that helps in prep. You don't have to think about the item for them, which I think it's in the rules, but your Mega Pokemon have to carry their Mega Stone. Like I drafted Mega Charizard, I can't use Mega Charizard X's Mega Stone. I also can't put a scarf on it, right? I have to run the Charizard Y. But the best items typically are the scarf, the sash, the life orb, and the citrus berry. There's all of the resist berries that will have super effective damage. Those are super useful, but I don't want to list all of them as well. What else is there? Mental herb, the leftovers if you got a really bulky Pokemon, but VGC games are typically extremely quick, maybe lasting 4 to 8 turns on average. So having leftovers typically isn't going to get you the same amount of recovery as like a citrus berry would. But if you got a plan for it, feel free to do it. Just wanted to put that out there in case anybody was kind of thinking otherwise. One thing that's really, really important as well is speed control, especially with dynamic speed. So if you noticed on the tier list, Whimsicott, Talonflame, those were really expensive Pokemon, and that's because they have priority Tailwind, meaning when they use Tailwind, their partner can get immediately the 2x speed boost from that move. And like Aerodactyl's very expensive for the same reason. It's not priority, but it's one of the fastest Pokemon in the game, so when it uses Tailwind, it typically goes first. Speed control can patch up type matchups, right? If you are able to attack first and be able to double into something that's threatening you, maybe you can just get rid of it and it doesn't actually matter that that Pokemon's annoying. Same deal on the tier list as to why a lot of bulky Pokemon aren't super high up there. It's really difficult to have something that's super fat live that long, right? If it gets doubled into, sure, in singles, like a Toxapex, for example, that can wall a lot of things, but it's only taking one move at a time. In doubles, it takes a really strong, like, neutral move and then also has to eat an Earthquake. Now it doesn't actually survive that long, right? So be mindful of your speed, and that also applies to the weather, right? There's your Swift Swimmers, your Chlorophyll users, your Sand Rushers, your Slush Rushers. When the weather's up, their speed gets doubled, and that's an effective way to control it as well. So in like the weather matchups, speaking for myself again, having Charizard and Venusaur, I need to be really mindful of people bringing opposite weathers into me, maximizing the turns that I have that speed with Venusaur. So yeah, keep that in mind with prep, that speed control doesn't just have to be Tailwind. And then the last part of that is, of course, Trick Room. Say your opponent sets up Tailwind and you set up Trick Room, well, they just like kneecap themselves for four more turns, right? So that's another way. Even if you don't have a super fat or super slow team, you could still use Trick Room to your advantage if your opponent really relies on setting up Tailwind, and you kind of call them out on that. Same deal with Trick Room. You can reverse Trick Room. You got somebody who's really game planning to run a Trick Room sort of team into you. You can bring your own Trick Room. They try to set it up, and sure, maybe they get it up or whatever, but the next turn you can go ahead and try to reverse it, assuming your setter's out there. So then you can get the speed back into your control. It's so much more dynamic than in singles with that, so just keep that in mind in your prep. It's obviously a lot to think about, but all of us are doing, well, other than Ty, are doing our first VGC Draft League season in this league, and we're all going to be kind of learning this stuff together. So I'm not really sweating it too much. I think it's going to be really funny the first couple weeks as we figure this out. Let's see, what else did I want to cover? Oh, hazards are not very important in doubles. Like I said, the length of the game is like, a game that goes over 8 turns is a long VGC game. So you can potentially catch somebody off guard by running like Stealth Rocks or Spikes or something, but it really isn't going to get the same amount of value as you just running like an offensive move to get damage down. Yeah, case by case, I'm sure at some point this season somebody's going to be running Rocks or Spikes or whatever, but for the most part, it's just better to have attacks or support moves on your team outside of hazards. With 2 Pokemon on the field, Intimidate is really strong because it intimidates both on the other side of the field. Same with like spread moves like Snarl, that will lower the special attack on both partners. Let's see here. U-turn and Parting Shot are okay in like Volt Switch. They're okay. It really depends on the mon that's using it, though. Like Incineroar and Grimmsnarl are really good Parting Shot users, but they're really bulky and offer a lot of support when they are on the field. Just as like a lower tier example, like Electros. if that's running Volt Switch or U-turn, that's probably, in most situations, not going to be as optimal as just having a regular attack, because it doesn't have the bulk to really survive a whole lot, take a hit, switch out, and then it's also not going to be like hitting that hard or disrupting anything. So like those are kind of case by case, but it's not like in singles where like you could just slap U-turn on something and be like, oh, this is great. And then let's see. I guess I'll talk about that when we get to the other teams. So I think that's most of the basics. Read the rules if you haven't yet, right? We are going to be trying to play on console if possible. So if you have the Mons in-game on Champions, it'd be really dope to be able to play with like those graphics and everything. What we would do, I have it set up here, like the instructions on how to make like a private room, and then you'd put that into the Discord so people can join and spectate. One of the spectators, hopefully I can watch most of the games if we're doing them on console, but I will try to screen record on my phone. That way you don't have to focus too much on who gets what kills and whatnot. It is still preferred that people playing are making notes of who got what kill and when, right? I just don't want any sort of stat issues or record issues from playing a game on console. Of course, if you play on Showdown, save the replay, post the replay, like that's easy. But yeah, hopefully we can get a good amount of games on there. That'd be really fun. All right, let's break down some teams, and I can kind of talk about some more of these concepts. All right, Berg. So basically, Berg's running like this bulky offense sand. A lot of stuff that's tough to kill, like Melodic Corv and Sableye, and then some really good speed with Excadrill and Houndstone in sand. His team is a little bit weak to bulky water types, of course, not having a grass or an electric type out there. But Houndstone, with last respects after a couple teammates die, is going to be hitting plenty hard. Melodic doesn't really do a lot to bulky waters, but bulky waters really can't do anything to it, and Melodic has recover, right? So it can kind of just sit there and set up if it wanted to. And then, of course, a bulky water is no match for the Entrainment Fisher Excadrill that could be on the other side as well, so that might even just be a deterrent to bringing it in the first place. Just the threat of Berg running one-hit KO moves with no guard. But yeah, pretty solid overall. I mean, I'm not going to like really like rip anybody apart or praise anybody too much with this, because I think every team is really threatening and really pretty much well-rounded overall. So just going to talk about a couple ideas with all of the teams and what I like and whatnot. So let's go over to June. We got the Mouse Ape 1-2 combo, and then Mawile, Oranguru, Trick Room. That is going to be disgusting. Let's see. I'm doing this on the fly, so I haven't really prepared a whole lot here. Mega Scovillain, one of the new Megas that released, it has a signature ability that any contact move made with Scovillain after it Megas will burn the user. Or I don't even think it's contact. I think it's any move that interacts with Scovillain will or does damage to it will burn. So, be careful using your physical attackers, of course, into June's team for that reason. But I guess there is like an opportunity cost as well on June's end of, okay, if I'm running Mega Scove and I bring that to the game, then like Mawile's essentially useless after Scovillain or Greninja hit the Mega button, so you can at least like check that box off. Yeah, and Mega Gren's really fun in Draft League. I don't think it's like good on the ladder because the normal set that it wants to run has good coverage, but it's not perfect. But being able to tailor that to your opponent's team, I think Mega Gren is really, really well positioned. 142 speed is absolutely insane. But yeah, really fun team. I think there's so many creative things that June can do, so that'll be fun to watch. I guess like here we go. We got redirection, right, with Rage Powder Scovillain and Follow Me Mouse, and then Oranguru has a move called Instruct that when it uses that move, it makes its partner Pokemon use their move again. So that's a usually useless move in singles, right? But Instruct in doubles is really, really strong. All right, let's go over to Braden's team. Hopefully the graphics update soon. The site that I'm using to pull all of these hasn't updated the new megas into, or anything that's new into regulation MB. But hopefully soon. It's been out now like over a month now. But anyway, we got Basculegion Sneasler, just straight off the OU menu. Mega Meganium is really cool. Mega Soul makes it so all of its attacking moves behave as if the sun is up. So 1-turn Solar Beams, permanently having Fire-type Weather Ball, 2/3 healing Synthesis. Really, really cool stuff. And then I think the team really supports it well when, like, Meganium's biggest weakness is going to be flying and poison. And you got, obviously, a Sneasler, a ground type, a Mega Drugalgi that could potentially be just a normal one as well. Like, I think it functions totally fine in base form. And then Rotom being a fantastic flying resistance. Like, the only other flying resistance I think is Rampardos on this team. Yeah. And if Rotom's like, nah, don't worry about it. I gotcha. Politoed to set the rain. Once again, like, that's why Meganium's not super worried about fire type stuff. Plus, like, there's so many other things that scare fire types on this team that it's really tough to bring them into any of these games. Any other fun stuff? Redirection with Vivillon, Prankster in base form, Male Meowstic to set up screens. It's got Fake Out. It has so much support stuff. And Rampardos is a demon. I think that's really, like, I think that's the glue right there. I think Meowstic might be the only Trick Room user on this team, so it might be tough to get Rampardos' position to be able to, like, really throw off some damage, but I mean, it's definitely a possibility to throw up Trick Room with Meowstic and then get that thing going. All right, Joe's team. Very tried and true core of Garchomp, Gardevoir, Ensign, Talonflame. And then Glimmora, I think, is super underrated, especially in Draft League. Being, like, it always has 4 move slot syndrome, but when you know what your opponent could potentially bring to you, I think that helps out a lot. Mega Kang, it unfortunately got a little nerfed, but it's still really tough to kill, and it still hits really hard. Like, the double-edged set is just ridiculous. And obviously Fake Out Last Resort is a good time. And then the pairing of Zoroark with, I mean, Kangaskhan is, like, the biggest one that I think it would go best with, but Zoro shouldn't die to any, like, one ice move, so disguising Garchomp as it could still be really effective. It also gets a bunch of support moves too, and it'd be really funny to disguise as, like, Avalugg or something, and then it gets off a really fast support move. And then Ariados with Rage Powder, Talonflame priority, Tailwind to start screaming with Hyper Voice, Mega Guard. That's sick. And then, yeah, obviously Ensign's, like, one of the best Pokemon in the format, so I like this team a lot. Anything else I need to cover? Double Intimidate, I guess. Oh, I brought up the Intimidate thing earlier. It lowers the attack of both Pokemon on the other side, but that also means that you can bring, like, a Defiant or a competitive Pokemon with those abilities, and it doesn't matter what slot you position them into. If they get intimidated, then they'll get the stat raise. So, yeah, Joe's going to have to keep that in mind and not cycle Intimidate too often, at least. All right, my team. Yeah, I got the Bumble, so it's pretty much over for everybody. Crabominal, he's the boy. Did not have points for the Mega, unfortunately, but that's all right. Yeah, I basically decided that I was just going to draft stuff that I have shiny versions of in-game. And then I didn't really want to do it, but Zardwai is super, super strong in this format. I feel like it's going to be such a headache dealing with other people bringing weather into me now, but at least I have something to fight back against a rain team or a sand team. I can maybe get some control of the weather. What else about this team? Fast tailwind, trick room options, plenty of support. I do think that fairies are kind of few and far between on, like, really, there's kind of like a gap. Like, once you get down past Clefable, not even, probably above Clefable, like, Primarina is probably, like, the cutoff from, like, the really good fairies to, like, meh. Yeah, I really wanted to get a solid fairy type to start, because there's just so few of them. I don't really have a whole lot else to say about my team. I think I have a ton of options, and it's going to be a little annoying to prep with them, but hopefully that means it's going to be annoying to prep against. I don't think there's like a insanely exploitable weakness in like a doubles format that everybody's going to try to like pin down, which is good, but it also doesn't really cue me into like what people are thinking about bringing into my team. But whatever, we'll see how week 1 goes against Cordell. It's going to be an absolute slugfest. And speaking of which, we got the Delphox Blastoise dual Mega, obviously Mega Drampa there too. Blastoise Delphox, that's like a really common core right now on like the ladder, because Blastoise kind of covers all the matchups that Delphox doesn't like the sand matchup specifically, and a little bit of like the sun matchup. Sinistra, one of the best support Pokemon in the game, Trick Room and Rage Powder, which is super sick. And then Scrafty's a great support with Intimidate and Fake Out. So this team has a ton of roll compression. I was a little curious as to how Cordell went about with his budget, but seems like he's got a plan. I didn't see any changes being made in grace period, so we ride. But then he's got the Heliolisk Torkoal combo, get the solar power up, obviously can set Trick Room with Meowstic or Sinistra, and then spam some charcoal boosted eruptions with Torkoal. That's going to be fun. I guess in weather matchups that you don't want the Torkoal, then you could run Cloud9 Drampa, but once it megas, it turns into Berserk, I believe is the ability, so then you could still run that side by side with Torkoal, which is cool. Scary team. I think I sniped Cordell like 5 times, which is pretty brutal. So my bad. We'll see how week 1 goes when you take it out on me. All right, we got the Gen 1 team, and ignore that. That's Meowth. Yeah, that's right. Anyway, this was what I was going to bring up before doing this, but Perish Trap. So that is a strategy where you have a Pokemon with Shadow Tag or like Magnet Pull or whatever, something that can keep the opponents on that side of the field and they can't switch out. And then you use a Pokemon with Perish Song, which then will kill everything on the field in 3 turns. Pretty difficult strategy to pull off. At least like on the higher level, there's only really one player in the world that can consistently do it against other really good players. In Draft League, and you're able to like know that the potential of Perish Trap is coming, it might be just as tough to pull off, but it's definitely an option, and that's going to force a lot of prep, which is pretty cool. Ditto, of course, is going to help prevent setup. Ditto in doubles is a little tough, though, because it's going to copy the Pokemon opposite of it. I don't know if I can... Yeah, so like, let's say fire, rock, hyphen, electric, right? This is the field, and Ditto is the hyphen. It's going to copy the rock, right? So if the fire type is like setting up and you switch in Ditto, it's just going to turn itself into what's straight across from it. So takes a little bit of positioning, but definitely a good deterrent, along with Clefable. I think... if I was running this team, Clefable would probably just be base Clefable most of the time, and then it has Unaware. So this team is very anti-setup from the opponent's end. And then you got dual or Veil from Ninetales, and then dual screens Klefki to further support the team. Lightning Rod, Raichu plus Gyarados is a really fun combo, pulling away any electric attacks. Once again, a new doubles thing, right? Even if, like in singles, obviously you can't hit Raichu with an electric type move, but you also can't hit their partner with it in doubles, which is pretty dope. Anything else? Fast rock slide flinches from Arcanine. I see that happening in the future. But yeah, I think with the limitations that Dodge put on his draft, I think this is actually pretty solid. I would have absolutely loved to see a Komo on this team at some point, but that's okay, because that, whatever. Klefki was out of necessity. There was like nothing left. All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, Magic, everybody. This is Magic. New player to the NCPL, and they got a pretty scary dual Mega Sand team. Let's see. Speed Control from Sandrush Excadrill, Tailwind Prankster Whimsicott, Trick Room Slowbro, and maybe the Wild Surge Surfer Alolan Raichu in electric terrain. And then obviously Dragapult's just fast as shit in the first place. So, a lot of options on the speed fronts. I feel like this team is going to have speed sandwiches everywhere, and he's going to be able to kind of pick his poison of fast or slow each game, which is really fun to have that option. There's nothing obvious like that I think it's weak to either. Like, there's nothing screaming at me like, oh my god, rock types destroy you. No. I mean, rock types are good. That's like literally the only thing. Because like Whimsicott doesn't love running Energy Ball. But like Excadrill just bodies them anyway, and Basket Legion, of course, is going to go crazy. Don't sleep on the physical set of Basket Legion female. It doesn't get used as often on ladder because it's just not as strong physically as the male version. But Last Respects is still Last Respects, so respect it. Yeah, that's the wording we're going to use for that. But yeah, cool team. All right. I'm running out of breath here, so I might be speeding this up a little bit. Sorry. All right, Tommy. Tommy has a really, really fun team with Mega Frostlass, Mega Dragonite, and the Mega Skarmory to help patch up the Sand matchup. I am so terrified of what Mudsdale is going to do behind Veil. Like, that thing with stamina is already, like, nearly unkillable, and if Tommy can keep weather control and screens, I mean, good luck getting rid of that thing. Oh, it's going to be brutal. Same with, like, a Calm Mind Primarina. So, yeah, basically, this whole team can just set up whenever it wants to. Yeah, I guess, like, Skarmory can't really maximize the setup potential because typically the screens are going to come from Frostlass, and then that means Skarmory can't Mega Evolve, but everything else has a pretty good time setting up. And then, of course, you got King Gambit in the back to clean up the game. Trick Room, check. Tailwind, check. It looks like it's got everything you need. Fake Out user. No redirection. But, oh, yeah, cool doubles ability. Mega Skarmory gets Stalwart, which ignores any sort of redirection. So the Pokemon you attack with it, it will do that. So that is one way to get around redirection. Oh, and yeah, if you're still watching, I should have brought this up at the beginning, but Fake Out, Feint, Wide Guard, oh gosh, there was another one. Anyway, Fake Out, super, super, super important. Gives you your teammate like a free turn to attack, or it can like break a sash on something. Feint is really cool because that will break Protect or Wide Guard. So you might think you're safe, you're going to click Protect, whatever. They feint into you, and then their partner doubles back up into that slot, and then now you're dead. So, yeah, be careful with that. And then Wide Guard is Protect, but you can use it indefinitely, and it protects you from spread moves only. So you can use it, say, like, you discern that your opponent has, like, a Scarf Garchomp, and it's locked into Earthquake and it can't switch out, like it's, you know, a 2-on-2 left, and you have a wide guard user out, well, your wide guard user can just keep spamming wide guard, and that Garchomp has to keep spamming Earthquake because it's, you know, locked in or whatever in this situation. And yeah, it'll never fail. However, if you use wide guard and then you follow it up with using protect, that protect is being treated like it's a double protect, so it most likely will fail. So just keep that in mind. If you're running wide guard on a Pokemon and protect on the same Pokemon, manage how you use it appropriately. Like, you can use protect and then wide guard, that's fine, but if you use wide guard and then protect, it might fail. Alright, Ty's team. Megastar Raptor, Mega Raichu Y is a core that is going around these days, and it makes sense because, like, Mega Raichu doesn't actually have to Mega Evolve to still be useful. Like, Lightning Rod and Fake Out, like on Dodge's team, is still really valuable. And then screens to help Megastar Raptor get even bulkier. Megastar Raptor has the ability Contrary, so and then it also has the move Close Combat. So every time it uses CC, its defense and special defense go up by a stage. And next thing you know, it's roosting and not dying, and you're sad. So be careful about that. But yeah, that's a core that's been going around a lot. Clefable for some redirection here, Aegis Wide Guard, Toxapex Wide Guard. I'm giving everybody the warning right now. Toxapex is not actually good in doubles, but it can be extremely annoying. There's one set out there right now of Infestation, Toxic, Baneful Bunker, and Wide Guard. And like that set makes more sense on ladder because Garchomps are mostly running Earthquake, so if you wide guard, you can't actually kill the Toxapex with your ground type. And then the Infestation Toxic stuff, you can trap in things that don't have pivoting moves and then just sit there forever. It's really good into like Floette teams because Floette likes to use Calm Mind a bunch, and then it ends up getting stuck on the field and can't actually do damage to a poison type Toxapex. So yeah, in Draft League, I think it's going to be more manageable, but just fair warning, everybody, if he's bringing it, it's not going to be fun for you. And then, oh yeah, Mega Abomasnow, Mr. Rhyme, and Raichu. Oh my gosh. Sorry, having a puppy hanging out with me. So, Mr. Rhyme, it actually made champion tier on ladder, so it was on a team of a player that made it into the top 300 in the world out of 450,000 people. So it's not legit, but there is a very specific way to use it that is really good. I'm not going to spoil all of the secrets, so Ty can keep some of them in his pocket, but let's just say Ty lost to that in his other VGC Draft League. And yeah, just go through the team builders or Smogon movesets of your opponent's Pokemon. That way you know what everything can do. All right, MJC, we got the sort of rain, sort of not rain Starmie Floette team. Oh man, and Mega Lucario, I forgot about that pick. Okay, so Floette is probably the best Pokemon in the game. It just requires a lot of support to kind of do its full thing. And Mega Starmie just hits like an absolute truck. So we see the Liepard there, and you're like, oh, Liepard sucks. Why is it 11 points? It's because it has Prankster, and it has Weather, and it has Fake Out. So yeah, the rain can get set up for Starmie to blow things up with huge power liquidations. Weather control, that way Floette can sit around a little bit longer against maybe a Sun team. You can flip that into rain, and now the fire moves aren't really doing a whole lot into Floette. Obviously Swift Swim Overquill would appreciate that too. Golden Go, it got nerfed a little bit. Make It Rain got double nerfed, I guess. Its accuracy went down, and it also drops your special attack 2 stages instead of 1 stage now. It's still a really good Pokemon though, and especially in Draft League, like we know that in singles, it has like unlimited coverage, and I think it gets Surf. Pretty sure it gets a water move. So yeah, that could fit right on. But yeah, like Power Gem, Thunderbolt, Dazzling Gleam, yada yada. So Golden Ghost, super flexible, customizable to each matchup, and really like annoying to kill even without Terra. We got 2 Lightning Rod users with Rhyperior and Pikachu. Both of them actually were in my little prep doc when we were drafting. I thought both of them would kind of fit onto my squad, so I'm glad they're partners somewhere else. Mega Lucario, the 2014 World's runner-up Mega Evolution. I mean, once again, super versatile. Like it can do so many different things, and it has a ton of support moves like Quick Guard and Feint, coaching. Like it can do a whole lot. So I could foresee like a scarfed coaching Lucario into Mega Starmie, give that a +1 attack, and just throw out some bombs. But yeah, should be a fun team. MJC always cooks up some crazy shit, so he's got plenty of options with this team. All right, and finally, a true dedicated rain team with Arch Pelly, Mega Swampert, Sableye. Like those 4 Pokemon could come every week, and I think Graham would have a fighting chance against any opponent. Like I don't think the other 6. I mean, 2 of them would have to just be on the team, but I think he could just bring those 4 and it would be fine. Like that's already a tried and true core. I think like Meowscarada, Alakazam, and Charizard, and I guess Electros a little bit too. I think those 4 are like really good singles Pokemon, and I think like they can be used in VGC, but if I had to guess, Graham's going to do some really creative stuff with them to make them fit. Like obviously, like Zard doesn't want the rain up to maximize like Tough Claws, Flare Blitzes, and whatnot, but like Megazard X could also just be a defensive Pokemon. It has a really good typing profile to pair with some of those rains, and just throw off some Will-O-Wisps, roost it back up, be really annoying. Like Spadef Arch, and then you just burn stuff with Megazard. That'd be hilarious. Meowscarada, I actually liked in VGC back in Scarlet and Violet when it had Choice Band and Terra. Like Terra Grass, Choice Band, Flower Trick was like so cool. We don't have Choice Band or Terra in this format, so it's not going to hit nearly as hard, but it has Triple Axle now, and obviously a ton of coverage, and it is a Trick Room user. So in a pinch, it can flip the speed. Megazam, with Trace, I should have mentioned this with Mega Meow as well. That one, it doesn't just trace the Pokemon straight across from you. That one actually traces a random ability on the other side of the field. So you can get lucky with it, but it's not very consistent. I know there was one team out that was like consistently, or not consistently, but the idea was that it would trace Intimidates over and over, to weaken the other side for its partners. But yeah, obviously it's fast, it hits really hard. I don't think Sableye gets Psychic Terrain, but I can check on that. It would be really cool to throw up some Psychic Terrain boosted expanding forces from Zam, especially in doubles, because then it becomes a spread move and hit both Pokemon. Tinkaton actually has plenty of viability in VGC. It was actually used with Mold Breaker to be able to Helping Hand Golden Go back in Scarlet and Violet, but it's got Fake Out, it's got Helping Hand, it's got plenty of support moves. It doesn't really care that its coverage isn't really that great. Plus, it's kind of annoying to kill. But yeah, those are the teams. I think everybody did a fantastic job. I don't have a whole lot to like nitpick about any teams. I think my biggest nitpick is that Cordell just didn't spend enough points, but hey, I play him week 1, so I can't complain about that, I guess. But yeah, let's hop on over to the team builder real quick, and I'm just going to talk about a couple of like these usually useless moves that like for example Lucario has a bunch of. So coaching raises an ally's attack and defense by 1, very, very strong. Feint, it breaks Detect, Protect, Quick, and Wide Guard. Yeah, like that it's really cool picking off like Sash Pokemon with that when they're at 1 HP. But the true power in it is breaking protect so your partner can deal with them, right? So you got the speed control, your partner's like, oh, I can kill this thing, but I like essentially if that thing protects, then it might die to the other partner or whatever. It's tough visualizing this with my voice, so bear with me. Essentially, you can just open up that threatening Pokemon and guarantee that your other Pokemon can attack it by using Feint. Heal Pulse is actually viable in doubles because you can heal your partner back up. Life Dew also heals your allies, so that has some viability. Upper Hand, this obviously was like, it has a little bit of viability in singles, it's just a little bit more niche, but in a format where a lot of Pokemon like running Fake Out, aka VGC, Upper Hand, as long as you're faster than the Fake Out Pokemon, will cause that Fake Out Pokemon to flinch if that's what they chose. Still like a very high skill sort of move to use, but definitely pretty valuable. Yeah, I'm just going through here, right? Howl, this raises the user and its allies attack by 1. That's seen a lot of play before. Helping Hand, that essentially is giving like a choice item boost in power to your partner. So maybe like, I don't know, in this example it's Lucario, maybe both Pokemon on the other side don't really take a lot of damage from Lucario, but your partner can do something to them. You go ahead and just Helping Hand, and like Lucario is still contributing to the battle, but it doesn't actually have to attack itself at that point. And then Quick Guard, this is the same priority as Fake Out. It's +3. So if you're faster than a Fake Out user and you use Quick Guard, you can block that for yourself or your partner. More realistically, your partner, because if you're Quick Guarding, you're not actually doing anything. But yeah, useful against like a Gale Wings Talonflame. Useful for Prankster Encore stopping. Yeah, ton of value in that. And that's pretty much it for like VGC specific things. Smogon is a singles website, right? So a lot of the moves that you're going to be putting onto your mons are going to be down here in the usually useless. So just make sure you take a peek at that in the team builder when you're getting ready for each week, that you're not missing anything valuable or useful down there. All right, but yeah, that's pretty much everything I wanted to cover. So thank you for watching if you made it this far, and I will see you in Season 10. Peace.